Hi, it's Mark Bossert from Top Local Lead Generation. We're here today with Dr. Nicholas Jensen from Divine Elements. We're going to be talking about weight loss and thyroid function. How are you doing today, Nick?
Great, Mark. How are you doing?
I'm
Thanks
good.
for having me.
Yeah. Hey, so first of all, what is the thyroid gland?
Yeah, it's basically I wanted to touch in on the thyroid function just because we touched on weight loss and it's such a hot topic. So basically, the thyroid gland is a gland that sits at the level of the neck. Everyone's got one. Some people have one that's working a little bit better than others. So pieces that we're really looking for when it comes to thyroid function is looking at your levels of T4, T3, and in the blood. T4 is your inactive form of thyroid hormone. T3 is an active. All that really means is that these are levels on a blood test that we're able to see how active thyroid is. Now, the unfortunate piece is that standard medical practice is to look for something called TSH, which if you've ever had blood work done, most likely that's a marker that's been checked on someone. And if there's only if TSH registers high, which equals hypothyroid, is there ever any concern or cause to look at a T4 level. Actual fact is what you want to look for is all these levels in the blood. You want to look at TSH, T4, T3, something called reverse T3, and thyroid antibodies. Excuse me. That gives us a much clearer objective picture of what's going on with the thyroid hormone.
So how does all that work together to create signs of an imbalanced thyroid gland?
So for most people, I mean, taking it back to weight loss is such a huge struggle for so many people, and obviously diet is a factor. But with regards to thyroid function, if thyroid is not working well, and we're going to just talk about hypothyroid for today. Hypothyroid means under-functioning metabolism. So T3, the active form of thyroid hormone, is actually what determines that. But some other common signs and symptoms would be low mood or depression, which are very common. Feeling cold all the time is a big concern for a lot of people, and I mean it's less of a concern in the summer months, but definitely once winter hits, there's many people who are just constantly feeling that cold and that right down to the bone, and that's a very common sign. Other ones would be hair loss or hair thinning, dry hair and skin, feeling like the nails are always cracked and brittle, and slow wound healing. So these are all some of the more common signs of a thyroid imbalance or hypothyroid symptoms.
So that's an awful lot of areas of the body that are being affected.
Absolutely. The reality is the body is more likely to go into a hypothyroid state, mostly because our nutritional capacity or what we're taking in regularly is not up to par. So with those feelings of feeling cold all the time, the cold extremities, the body is basically giving us messages and saying, things could definitely be better. Why are we not listening to our symptoms, and why are we allowing these symptoms to take control of our lives? And what are we not listening to? What are we not doing? What are we choosing not to do? So the problem is that so many people are suffering needlessly with these symptoms, and we don't need to. The standard medical practice is to give a medication called Synthroid. So across the board, if there's a thyroid imbalance going on, Synthroid is the medication of choice. The problem with Synthroid is only bolstering T4's effects. T4 is, again, inactive thyroid hormone. So people can be on this medication for years and have very little effect on any of their symptoms because T4 is not converting into the active form of thyroid hormone. There's some very simple things that you can do to help upregulate thyroid function.
So why would someone be on a medication that isn't solving the problem?
Well, this is the problem, is that too many people are trusting a system that's where they're not listening to their own intuition anymore. They're not listening to the call that things are not working. And I ask people this. I said, why are you taking a medication that's not serving you? Why are you taking a medication that's not doing anything? Nothing noticeable anyways. There are some people that gain a little bit of benefit because T4 is low, but the reality is most people are not receiving the benefit. And so that's the question we pose everybody. Who is on the medication that's not doing what it's supposed to?
Right. So, okay, how do you solve that thyroid imbalance?
So for most people, like everything we do in the clinic here, we always start off with nutritional changes, lifestyle changes. There's so much to be said for what you put in your body and how it metabolizes and absorbs and what the outcome is. we can be deficient in some of the very common nutrients that help to regulate thyroid function, like zinc and iodine and selenium. Just bolstering those alone sometimes creates the change that people need to see in order to have a change in the symptoms. Oftentimes, through our True Balance bioidentical hormone program, we often prescribe a hormone called desiccated thyroid, which is basically it's a complete support for the thyroid function. It's not just addressing a T4. So once we get all the blood work done, once we get the questionnaires filled out, and once we do our consultation, we're able to really determine this hormonal signature that people are presenting with and address those symptoms directly by adjusting nutrient intake, lifestyle changes, and in those cases adding in desiccated thyroid. And just this past week, actually, a patient emailed who had just recently been put on desiccated thyroid through the program, and has reported losing over 8 pounds, feeling fantastic. She wrote such a beautiful email about how well she was doing, and it was just the only thing that she changed at this point was just adding in desiccated thyroid and selenium and cutting out the Synthroid, and she started to feel like how she always knew she could feel. So that was a big victory and a big aha moment that when things are addressed properly, some amazing things can happen for people.
That's really amazing and gratifying to hear that there is help, because I know this is a pretty common thing. Is that right?
Absolutely. I mean, a big percentage of the people who do come in for hormonal imbalance do have a thyroid imbalance as well, and we can't look at these things as independent obstacles.